Hello there, HB here, aka Aurora Gwenware Price, and I've got something cool today. So, like back in 2011-ish, sort of, I did a top Silent Hill character of all time poll on Quizilla. And I was kind of supposed to, at the beginning of last year, release the results in a really cool video, and it kind of never happened, mainly because I just ran out of time and resources, and due to personal stuff, it just never got done. So when time came up again for me to be able to work on it, I thought, I'll just do it in a nice little article type thing. Well, the place where I decided I was going to publish the article said, no, you can't use it because you don't have permission to use the pictures. And I was kind of like, screw you, website. I used the pictures in other articles and you didn't complain. So took the pictures out, and then it was like, oh no, there's something wrong with your paragraph. So I'm kind of just saying, screw you, website, and doing it this way. Yeah. So, alright, so intro here. Alright, so first for honorable mentions, we have Cheryl Mason / Alessa Gillespie from the first Silent Hill game. We have Sybil Bennett from the first Silent Hill game. Mary Shepard Sunderland from Silent Hill 2, Officer George Sewell from Silent Hill Downpour, DJ Bobby Ricks from Silent Hill Downpour, Lisa Garland from Silent Hill Origins, Michael Kaufman from Silent Hill, and the phone guy / the birthday caller from Silent Hill 3. Now, some of these characters are separated out, like people who occur later on in the series. This is done because there are discrepancies between characters that show up again later on, so I went ahead and just did them all as separate characters to keep things fair. And I will talk a little bit about each character when we get into the actual list. As most of you know, I am not a huge fan of the later games, like not at all, but to be fair, I did include them on the list, so there are characters from those games on the list, and I will try to say something nice about them because I don't want to be mean to other fans who do like the characters. And also, I will link to the poll where I got the results from. I will link that in the description so that you can see. It won't entirely match up because if you notice, I originally posted the poll prior to Downpour coming out, so when Downpour did come out and people were asking me to add them on, I added the characters on, and it completely erased all the previous votes from that poll. I did mark them down, so I do have those, but it won't show up on Quizilla. Also, shut up, computer. I did have votes going on in a few other places. I didn't get very many in those, but I did include those as well. So, here are the top 15 Silent Hill characters of all time as voted by fans. And I did not vote at all during this. I don't know if people voted multiple times. I have no idea. This is just the results that I got. Okay. Number 15 is Howard Blackwood from Silent Hill Downpour. I didn't realize that this character had so much of an impact on fans, I guess. I don't know, he's just kind of in general a mysterious character. You don't know very much about him, although apparently he does show up in Silent Hill Past Life comics, I believe is what it's called. I have one of the comics somewhere around here, and yeah, apparently he shows up in there, so I guess there is a history with his character to the Silent Hill franchise. Alright, number 14 is a three-way tie. We have Angela Orozco from Silent Hill 2, Father Vincent from Silent Hill 3, and Harry Mason from Silent Hill Shattered Memories. Now, Angela Orozco is my personal top favorite. I love this character. I love the way that the developers specifically picked Donna Burke to perform her, and I love her performance, and I just love the way she's written into the story, and the way you kind of see her develop along the way into her ultimate destruction. I very much love the tragedy side of storytelling, and I feel like Angela Orozco just embodies all of that, like her past, where she is currently, and where she's headed. It's just one big giant tragedy, and I just love her as a character. Father Vincent is another one of my top personal faves. He's just so horribly sexy. Um, Again, I love his performance, the voice actor, and the motion to him, and the little decisions made by the developers for this character is just phenomenal. And I really honestly couldn't see Silent Hill 3 without this character, which is probably one of my biggest complaints about the movie, but that's another story entirely. Harry Mason from Silent Hill Shattered Memories. I can't really say much on his character because I haven't actually played the game. I have watched a few Let's Plays of it, and Harry Mason is basically whatever you decide to make him, which is either, good father, a drunk, sex maniac, and someone who's really forgetful. Basically, you can make him into either one of those choices depending on how you play the game, so whether or not you look at the underwear model or whatever happens, or yeah, depending on what you do, that's ultimately reflected in on the character. Number 13 is Claudia Wolf from Silent Hill 3. Claudia Wolf is probably, I think, in my opinion, one of the more complicated characters of the Silent Hill franchise. It's really difficult to pin her down as an antagonist, mainly because what she's trying to do is coming from a good place. I guess sort of almost like Walter in a way, but she's ultimately trying to reach an end goal of ultimate good, but because she's still so brainwashed or whatever it is by the cult, she doesn't realize what she's doing, and ultimately she is not only sacrificing Heather / Alessa in order to achieve this goal, but she's sacrificing herself. She doesn't expect to be part of this grand plan that she's bringing about. She doesn't plan to be able to see her work. She is giving up her life to see this great thing done, which it makes her so much more complicated than I think a lot of people give her credit for, and definitely one of the more interesting characters of the series in my opinion, but she's also apparently a fan favorite. Number 12 is also a tie between Anne Cunningham from Silent Hill Downpour and Eileen Galvin from Silent Hill 3. Anne Cunningham, I've kind of always thought of her as an older, more foul-mouthed version of Heather. She's, spoilers, getting revenge for her dad by following Murphy because she believes that Murphy's killed him, and depending on your ending, he may or may not have actually killed her father. She's very tough, but I think she's using that toughness as like a shell to hide her very mushy-gushy and emotional and fragile insides. I don't know what this is, but apparently that's something. Eileen Galvin, another one of my favorites. She's like, my favorite analogy with her is she's if Heather and Lisa somehow had a child together, it would be Eileen. Just go with it. A lot of people have made comparisons to her with Ashley Graham, and quite honestly, I prefer Eileen over Ashley. While mechanical gameplay mechanic wise, Ashley's probably better than Eileen, just because at least you can control Ashley and you can hide Ashley somewhere without her taking damage. But Eileen, it's just, you're kind of screwed no matter what. So, but character-wise, personality-wise, and performance-wise, Eileen is clearly superior to Ashley, you know, because she doesn't yell out, "Leon, help! Leon, help!" She doesn't do that, which automatically makes her better than Ashley. Number 11, another tie, Alessa Gillespie from Silent Hill Origins and Douglas Cartland from Silent Hill 3. Now, Alessa Gillespie from Silent Hill Origins, I can't really say much about her because it's not like anything particularly groundbreaking happens with her in Origins compared to Silent Hill. I mean, at least character-wise. She helps out the main protagonist and helps him collect the pieces. That's kind of about it, but apparently fans really, really like her. I kind of don't have much to say on her, unfortunately, but that's also because I haven't really played Origins. I've watched a few Let's Plays, and that's about it, because I don't have access to the game or anything, so all I know is what I can really study and see on the internet, and it's really kind of depressing, isn't it? But anyway, Douglas Cartland. He is basically kind of the faux father to Heather by the end of Silent Hill 3, and I've got to say, probably one of the coolest characters ever in Silent Hill, because you can get him that secret unlockable costume, which if you don't know what it is, you need to find out right away, because it is the funniest thing you will ever see in your life. I swear. Maybe not the funniest, but the best thing ever. It's great. It's amazing. Number 10, Maria from Silent Hill 2. Maria is one of my favorite female characters, because she's so dual personality, and I really have a thing for stories and dual personalities and tragedies. I'm really weird if you didn't know this already. But her connection to James is really incredibly interesting, because she's trying to be Mary, and it's like she's trying to fool James into thinking she's Mary, despite the fact that he clearly knows that she is not Mary, but suspiciously looks a lot like Mary, and sometimes will strangely behave like Mary. It's so interesting to watch the two interact with each other, and especially that infamous scene in the jail cell. Oh my gosh, so powerful. She's just an amazing character and a fun character to watch. And again, she has one of the best designs. Like, a lot of those early characters have such great designs. It's amazing. Sorry, I'm trying not to fangirl over the original games, but it's kind of hard to deny that they did have some pretty darn good designs and decisions put into them. And Maria is just a great example of that. Probably one of the better examples out of Silent Hill 2 is the amount of work that they put into her character. Number 9 is Walter Sullivan from Silent Hill 4: The Room. Walter is probably the most sympathetic character out of the entire series. Probably. There's something just so incredibly depressing about his character that you kind of feel for him in the same position that Eileen was kind of sympathetic towards him. And gosh, it's just, I think the use of the young Walter really helped to kind of give his older character a much more rounded feel, because you get a sense of who he was as a child and the progression he's made into an adult, and you can kind of compare and contrast, and you kind of think, gosh, what happened along the way? Why did this poor little child end up like this? And of course it's the cult, because they're a bunch of jerks. And it's just an amazing character to watch, and how he plays out with the story of 4 is just, it's great. Number 8 is Travis Grady from Silent Hill Origins. And another character I can't really say much about other than he looks like a lumberjack. It's like every time I see him, I go, there's the lumberjack truck driver who can fit ladders and sheds and microwaves and TVs into his back pocket. That's really all you can say about him, and people like him. People like him a lot, and my suspicion is that it's because he looks like a lumberjack who can fit ladders and TVs and sheds into his back pocket, but, you know, he does have a sad backstory like a lot of these Silent Hill protagonists do, and people find him very fascinating. And, you know, it is kind of hard to say that I don't like the character who looks like a lumberjack who can fit ladders and sheds and TVs into his back pocket. Number 7 is Henry Townsend from Silent Hill 4: The Room. Now, really, there is not much to say about this character, because if you know the game, and if you're watching this video, I think you probably do know the games, there's nothing to say about this guy other than he's just so incredibly bland. And a lot of people seem to be really half and half in regards to his character. Like, I know I love most of the characters from Silent Hill 4, but then there's Howard? Why was I saying Howard? But then there's Henry, and you're like, what happened along the way? Did people just like spend so much time on the other characters that they forgot about Henry, or did they purposely make Henry bland so that the players could more easily fit into his shoes? But I don't know, he's lovably bland. I mean, his blandness plays so much into the character and into the game that honestly, I feel like if that blandness was gone, part of the charm of the game would probably be lost. That's my personal opinion. But there you go, Henry. Number 6 is Lisa Garland from Silent Hill. Lisa Garland is probably, I don't know, she's the emotional attachment in the game. She's the character that gets you really invested, and then her death is like the most horrible thing ever. It's so sad and heartbreaking, and of course the infamous music, the theme to her death, it's just so heart-wrenching. It just wants to crush your soul, and I love it. I know I'm a horrible human being, but God, the impact of that scene alone is just outstanding. I mean, watching her stumbling about and the blood dripping down her face, it's just, there's no other scene that can really truly compare for me in that entire game. That is like the defining moment when you had all this good that was her shining bright through the dark of Silent Hill and then gone. It's like, whoa, this stuff just really got real. It's her character literally, I think, really defines the game. Not that, you have all these other characters, but it's her that I think really gets you into the darkness of it. Anyway, so number 5 is Harry Mason from Silent Hill. I like to call Harry Mason the Chuck Norris of Silent Hill. I know Chuck Norris jokes are long dead, but you've got to admit he is kind of Chuck Norris-like. I mean, he goes into Silent Hill, he's killing all these big giant monsters, he kills God, he kills that thing, and he still manages to escape. How could he not be Chuck Norris-like? Just saying. Anyway, so number 4 is Alex Shepard from Silent Hill Homecoming. Homecoming is such a touchy subject with me because I really can't stand the game. And I want to be not biased here, but I don't know. I don't understand it, but you can definitely tell that with Homecoming, it really seems like the developers tried to go back directly to the source of inspiration for Silent Hill. Whereas a lot of fans say, go back to the roots. These developers really, really went back to the roots and basically did Silent Hill and Jacob's Ladder, having a love child together. That's pretty much what Silent Hill Homecoming is. And I guess Alex is a fairly relatable character. He's older, he's had military experience, he's basically just a guy looking out for his family. And then, of course, you find out what the truth is about him and all goes crazy. Yeah, but people really, he got so many votes. Crazy. These top 4 or 5 really got a lot of votes. And, pretty crazy. Number 3 is Murphy Pendleton from Silent Hill Downpour. Now, this is the one where if you go back to the poll, it'll seem like he should be number 1 because he's got so many votes. But again, because I added the characters later and then stupid Quizilla deleted all the previous votes, it looks like he got the most votes, but really he didn't. There were more votes to count in. Shut up, clock! Alright. Murphy Pendleton is the newest protagonist to the Silent Hill series, and while I didn't particularly enjoy the game that much, Murphy is probably, out of the newer games, and this is for me personally, out of the newer games, is probably one of the better protagonist out of the newest ones. He seems to be a little more fleshed out, and I like that he has a simple design. Yes, it's very reminiscent of Henry, but I do enjoy his design. I really, really liked the voice actor. I think the voice actor did a phenomenal job. And I've noticed this with a lot of Silent Hill characters. It seems like people who have not previously had much acting experience in terms of like big movies and video games and stuff, people who have acted before but not for big productions, I always feel like they do better jobs at performing, especially for the main characters, because you have like Guy Seehee and Heather Morris, who you haven't seen do a whole lot of big things. They seem to do a lot of the better work, and it's no exception for Murphy. I loved the performance of Murphy. I love the scar. Oh god, the Scar of Doom. But he's not a bad character. He's really not a bad character, and I find him to be pretty interesting. And again, another person who's really just looking out for their family at the cost of their family, and really, really well done. New developers on the Murphy front, the actual game front, not so much. But Murphy is a really good character. Number 2 is James Sunderland from Silent Hill 2. Yes, I just mentioned Guy Seehee's performance as James. Really some of the best work out of the Silent Hill series in terms of performances. There are so many good performances in Silent Hill in general, but Guy Seehee, I think, really stands out. A lot of people don't like his performance style because it seems, I guess, too flat, too generic, too boring, but, you know, personally, out of just me and storytelling in general, I prefer realism, and there's something about the way that Guy Seehee performs that it feels real. It feels like he's the guy next to you who you're sitting on the bus with. Like, he could be someone that you know. And that's what his performance feels like, and I think that helps to engage the audience a little bit more. I mean, depending, some people really do like what has been referred to as the big Hollywood voices, but I think the more intimate performances are the ones that are by people who sound like they could be someone you know. And James is just such a good character, and I basically have dubbed him the tragedy mask of Silent Hill. He is the personification of the ultimate tragedy. Him along with Angela are the most tragic characters out of the series. And, you know, who cares about Romeo and Juliet anymore? It's flipping James and Maria / Mary. That is just one of the saddest romances to just ever be told in storytelling. It's so powerful, it's so sad, it's so gripping, it's really a well done relationship, and you really feel for him by the end, where he's just completely broken down by the fact that he had done this thing that really destroyed everything. And gosh, kudos to you, Guy Seehee. You're amazing. Anyway, so last but not least, number 1 Silent Hill character of all time as voted by fans. So you can scream and applaud and whatever all you want in the comments. This was voted by fans. Alright, number 1. Heather from Silent Hill 3 is the top character from Silent Hill of all time. What I heard the most about people who had voted for Heather was that they found her to be extremely relatable. She's young, she's feisty, she's ready to go out there and face the danger. She's not wimpy, she's pretty brave. Like, a lot of this is affecting her and it's breaking her down slowly, but she's still finding strength in trying to avenge her father's death. She's a strong character, and a lot of people like that. And I know I did at first. I really didn't like Heather's voice. It just felt too real. And I don't know, it got to me, but then after a while, after getting to know her character and really getting into the games and really understanding the story, it felt right. Her performance just felt so right for the part. And shut up, computer. I'm trying to have a good moment here. Okay? Sorry about that. But anyway, Heather is just such a fun character. She's feisty, she gets in there, she's an unbelievable character, and I know many fans out there just absolutely love her to bits, and I love her to bits. She's great. She's tough, and there's not really much else I can say about her. She's a really great character, and really well done, you know? Good job, Heather. You won. So anyway, this has been the top 15 Silent Hill characters of all time, 15 plus a few. I really hope you enjoyed it. I do plan on doing more of these types of things in the future. Right now, I have a top 15 or 10 or however many it's going to be, it depends, for Resident Evil, which is going on right now. There are over 100 characters to choose from for that one, because I literally went through like lists and lists and went through all the games trying to piece out all the characters, so you can literally choose like anyone from basically almost the entire series. And that poll will probably be up for a good long while so that people can get their votes in and whatnot. I will also link that down there. So if you liked this, please make sure you vote for the top Resident Evil characters, make sure you leave a comment, and please subscribe so that we can get more of this type of content out, because it really is, it's so much fun hearing your guys' thoughts and then me spewing out all my nonsense, right? It's totally enjoyable. But anyway, so this has been HGP, aka Aurora Guinevere Price. Sorry, my mouth is like... Yeah, that's what my mouth is doing right now. Anyway, so this has been HGP, aka Aurora Guinevere Price. I will see you all later. Goodbye.